If you're selling something in the B2B space, so that could be like how to run your architecture practice or how to run Google shopping ads or anything that's teaching someone who's already making money, then you typically can get away with kind of between the $1,000 and $2,000 price point through selling stuff this way. A lot of times people are selling stuff that's cheaper, but that's the kind of the highest that you can go with it.
Hey guys, welcome to this episode with John Ainsworth from Data Driven Marketing. John is an absolute beast when it comes to online evergreen funnels, selling courses, selling memberships and things like that. He has a ton of experience, a ton of case studies, and we're going to go really deep on all things funnels, all things selling courses. It's going to be a good one. So get a pen and paper, get ready. It's going to be good. John, welcome to the podcast, man. Great to have you here.
Thanks very much. Great to be here.
Cool, man. Well, as always, I usually start off with, a little bit of background of yourself. So, give people a rundown of kind of, who you are, what you do, what the journey's been like for you over the last few years and, what life and business looks for you right now.
Yeah, so I run datadrivenmarketing.co, and what we do is we help online course creators who've already got 1 million views a month on YouTube or some similar amount on Instagram or podcasts. They've already got an email list of 30,000 people or more. And we help them they've already got courses, and we help them to generally about 5 times their revenue. That's kind of our shtick. We work with those guys. We're really, really good at what we do, so we're really picky about who we work with. So that's like kind of the cream of the crop for us. The way I got into this is I used to work in fitness marketing. So I work with gyms and yoga studios and martial arts academies and this kind of thing. And I found I got so good at building the funnels that I would fill all these guys up and then they didn't need me anymore. And I'm like, okay, I need to go find somebody who's got unlimited supply.
Infinite, yeah.
So it's like, totally. Okay, when we get to the point where, when you sell more, they're just like, great, cool, let's sell even more of it. Whereas these gyms, they'd be like, oh, sweet, we're full. That's great. Yeah. It's like, okay, what do you do now? So that's how I got into working with online course creators. I think it's an amazing niche, right? It's this amazing group of people who tend to be creators. There's someone who's got a thing that they know how to do. They've got this amazing skill. They're passionate about it. They want to share all this information, get that out into the world, be really helpful. They're really good at, making YouTube videos or Instagram or whatever. Most of our clients, it's YouTube. And then they're like, right now, let me teach more about this and make this amazing course. But they don't know how to actually make the sales. Like, how do you actually get the audience to get on the email list? How do you get the email list to buy? And how do you get people who buy to spend more with you? So that's what we dedicate our lives to. And we've made clients over $12 million so far this year, which has just been absolute blast. We make a lot of people millionaires, which is really good fun.
Yeah. 12 million. That sounds crazy, man. So you mentioned kind of a YouTube channels or Instagram audiences. I guess tell us, some of the products, some of the niches, the industries, even some of the price points potentially that, that make up this 12 million.
Yeah. So it's across language learning, a bunch of language learning clients, people in the spirituality space, so maybe helping with self-development, self-love, meditation, that kind of thing. We've got a client in the architecture space. So he runs an architecture practice. And he then teaches other people how to run their own architecture practice in the way that he does. Like, he's got a very great setup, very organized, works with great clients, this kind of thing. So he teaches other people how to do that. Someone in the home recording studio space. So for musicians who want to record their albums at home. Who else have we got at the moment? Somebody who does renovations. They're called Three Birds. It's an Australian brand. And they help people with renovating their house and interior decoration, that kind of thing. And it tends to be cheaper products. So this is do-it-yourself courses, not group coaching programs, no consultancy, nothing like that. It's courses that tend to be $79 to maybe $500. Now, they might have an upsell behind that. They might have a more expensive program as well. Most of them don't, but some of them do. But most of them, it's stuff that you can sell through email promotions. We're not working with webinars. We're not doing launches or challenges most of the time. It's just about email promotion to sales page to checkout page. So you need something that's cheap enough that people can make the decision just based on that kind of information.
Nice. And so across these different niches and these different clients, what does the funnel mainly look like? Do you have a formula or a proven system that takes people from, like I said, organic videos into becoming a lead, becoming a customer? I'm curious what that process looks like.
Yeah, so there's three main parts to it. How do we get people from the audience into the email list, people who are on the email list to buy, and the people who buy to spend more? So the first step, if someone's got a YouTube channel, is lead magnets. So we need to have great lead magnets, and that means something that's useful, that is helpful, that people can consume super quickly and get a result from straight away. So it could be a free tool or a template or a swipe file, something like that. So we make that great lead magnet, and then we promote the heck out of it across the YouTube channel. So that typically means they promote it at the beginning of the video, but then share the link at the end. So they keep the watch time high, but they have people excited about getting that lead magnet. So for example, if someone's doing a video about chin-ups, then at the beginning of the video, we'll say, in this video, we're going to teach you 3 useful tips about how to improve your pull-ups. At the end of the video, if you want to I'm going to give you a link. So if you don't want to download my free course about how to improve your chin-ups with all the details of it, you can get that then. And then you go through the 3 tips and you can give the link. And then you put it in the description as well, the link to it as well. And that'll tend to get you somewhere around about 0.5% of the video views to opt in. And if you do a brilliant job with it and you've got the perfect lead magnet and you promote it really, really well, maybe 1% of video views to opt in. So that then starts to build your list really fast if you've got a big YouTube channel. So we've got a client, for example, who gets an additional 50,000 leads every month from her. She's got 10 million subscribers on her YouTube channel. So then the second step is we then want to send emails to that audience to get them to buy something. So every month, what we do is an email marketing campaign. And there's 11 emails that go out over the course of 2 weeks. And that goes through to a sales page, through to a checkout page. So nothing revolutionary, nothing complicated, but it's the fundamentals. It's the things that work done really, really well. And the idea with that email promotion is we want to provide as much value as we possibly can that also moves people towards a sale. So if people don't buy, then they still get tons of value out of it and they want to stay on the email list. But the people who are kind of interested, who are right to buy now, then it's moving them towards the sale. What we find is about 0.3% of people will buy each time that you do an email promotion if you do a good job with it, which means 99.7% of people aren't going to buy this time anyway. So you better do a really good job of just providing value to most people to keep them on the list. Do you want me to talk you through the structure of the email promotion?
Yeah. So tell us around, you're saying that the monthly, kind of launches or, kind of promotions. And then, so tell us about that, but also firstly, tell us about the immediate email sequence and kind of what happens after that initial download. Is there like an initial kind of funnel? And yeah.
Yeah, so we use a tripwire funnel. So what that means is someone signs up for the lead magnet and the immediate thing they see on the confirmation page is a sales page for a cheap product, $27, $47, something in that kind of region normally. So that's something that's been reduced massively in price. So maybe it would normally be $97 and we're offering it for $47. It's the only time they can get it at this really reduced price. So they see that sales, and what we'll find is about 3 to 10% of people will buy straight away. That's the time when people are absolutely the hottest. So they have that sales page and then they go through to a checkout page. There's an order bump and an upsell, so additional products for people to get if they want to. If they don't buy, then there is an email follow-up sequence to point them back there again for 48 hours. So that's a 48-hour like countdown timer for them to get that discount on. And then at the end of that, we go into a welcome sequence. And the welcome sequence is like 6 emails that are telling people what kind of things they're going to get from being on this email list, giving them some of the best content that you've got, getting them excited about being on your list. So they're really warm and they're more likely to open your emails in future.
Yeah, love it. And how do you, maybe let's step back and kind of walk through this process. So if someone has, Instagram followers or a YouTube channel, the first thing, like you said, is, coming up with that irresistible lead magnet. You said kind of PDF, something that gets a result quickly. Maybe could you give your thinking or framework in terms of thinking about the ideal lead magnet for specific topics, and maybe some examples of lead magnets that are crushing it for your current clients?
Yeah, so you want something that is really, really easily consumable. So probably not an ebook, probably not a short course, something that is immediately usable. You get a benefit from it straight away. You want that dopamine hit just right away. People don't know you that well yet. They don't trust you that much yet, but they trust you enough to have given you their email address. You want something that's going to get them to feel like, oh, cool, straight away I've got a result. So for example, got a friend who runs a Airbnb hosting course. So he's teaching people how to make money from renting out properties on Airbnb. And so what people get straight away is a calculator. And it's a spreadsheet, and they can put their numbers into it for whatever area they're in, and they can see how much could they be renting out their property for. And so straight away, they've got that feedback without really having to do much work themselves. We've got a client who teaches digital painting, and he is giving away as his lead magnet 13 free digital paintbrushes. So if people are using one of these digital painting softwares, they can straight away do this better because they've got these brushes. They didn't have to do any extra work. They just get these things. Got a client in the photography space, and he has presets for filters that people can use depending on what kind of photos they're going to be editing. I've got a client in the spirituality space who's giving away 5 free meditations. So these are people who are already meditating, but now you've got meditations from this teacher, and that works really, really well. So those are the kinds of things where it's an immediate result, something super useful without doing any work, like 15 minutes work or less, you really want it to be.
Yeah, and I'm going into the nitty gritty now, so I apologize, but I'm curious. So when people, click off YouTube as an example, and go to the Tripwire opt-in form, is that just like a simple headline and a form? Do you have like long form copy kind of selling the free lead magnet? What kind of funnel or page is working for you guys right now?
Yeah, we test both, and we generally find that the long form stuff, even for a lead magnet, tends to work really well. So what we'll start with is we want to have the opt-in form be above the fold. And most of these companies, it's going to be people are visiting it on mobile. Some it's more on desktop. It kind of depends on the niche a little bit. But whichever way it is, you want to make sure that opt-in is above the fold. You want it to be as simple as possible. And you want to say, get this great resource, and we're going to send it through to you. And that headline, and then the opt-in. And then as they scroll down the page, if they're not convinced by that, they can scroll down, they can see much more information about it. We talk about the benefits of the lead magnet. We're going to talk about some of the features of it. We're going to give testimonials from other people who've gotten this lead magnet. So almost like a sales page, not as detailed as a sales page, but we tend to have like long form ones for that. And it's quite different to if we're doing it on the website, we'll just have an opt-in form. So it'll be a pop-up if someone's been on the page for 30 seconds or more, or if they click any of the buttons on the sidebar or in the middle of an article that are promoting the lead magnet, there'll be a pop-up, and there'll be like 3 benefits, a picture of it, a picture of the creator, and the name of it, and then the space for them to put their email in. And that's it. Like, it's very, very short. But with the landing pages, we're tending to see that longer form stuff works. Sometimes it's short form. So we'll test both. It'll just be the real headline, 3 key benefits, an image, and then the opt-in box. It kind of depends on the audience, and you don't really know in advance.
Yeah, totally. And then let's kind of move on. So we have that, 48-hour almost like deadline funnel sequence. We have the welcome onboarding things. Talk us a little bit about what that, because you mentioned obviously, okay, get people off YouTube onto the email, get them buying, and then get them buying more. So do most of your clients have multiple products, or is it a single product? And how do you think about spacing out, like launches with emails over this, over these months, and almost planning the email calendar?
Yeah, so we'll work with clients who have multiple products already.
Cool. Mm-hmm.
If you've only got one, you can't promote the same thing every month.
Yeah.
You can, actually, you can do it, but it's hard. It gets really, really hard. We had one client where we promoted the same course, I think, 11 months in a row. So every time you had to find another reason, another hook, another angle why you would be promoting it now. It'd be way easier if they had 6 courses, and we could just have promoted a different one every month, and after 6 months go back around again. So if someone's only got one course, the easiest thing to do is maybe do the promotion of it once every 3 months, but start making more courses. Figure out, okay, well, what else does my audience want? What else can I do? Can I pull out something from in this that's like a cheaper product? Can I bundle it with something and make a more expensive product? Can I do something live that's like a different angle on this? So it's the same content, but I'm running some group coaching sessions, and maybe charging more for that. Some way of having other products to sell as quickly as possible. And what we'll do is we'll then do that once a month. And so we'll tend to start out by looking at what's their most popular product. What have they already made the most sales of? And then we'll start with that. and then we'll kind of work through the other items and then come back around again. And we'll always be tracking like which of these is selling the most, which of these is, which of these should we ditch something from the cycle? Should we have like, if they've got 7 products and one of them doesn't sell very well, let's take that out and let's just leave that on the website for people to buy as and when. What about when we bundle a few of these things together and make it a bit more expensive? Does that do better, or is it better just to have individual products? So we'll kind of test and we'll see, and then we'll iterate and go around again from there.
Yeah, and how do you think about, coming up with that second and third or fourth product? You mentioned kind of taking smaller chunks out of the course and doing a downsell, maybe adding in some coaching, but in terms of like a topic, even like a price point perspective, I guess, what have you learned? How do you approach crafting these new offers and products?
Yeah, so we just survey the audience and we find out what they want.
Yeah.
Like the easiest way to sell a lot of stuff is sell people something they already want, right? So we've got, for example, that client in the spirituality space, and we surveyed the audience. We always do that at the beginning of every project working with a client. We want to understand what their pain points, what their desires, what's their frustrations, what keeps them awake at night, how do they describe their problems, what language do they use? So we can then use that in all of our marketing and all of our messaging when we're writing back to them. That's like an essential part of copywriting. But as part of that survey, we're also asking, what topics do you want to learn about? Is there anything else you want to know about that you aren't currently hearing about from this course creator? And for example, with that one, we found out that they wanted to know more about relationships. So then we put together a relationships course, and then that did great. It's very tempting sometimes as a course creator to make what you think people should want or what you're interested in. It's like, that's fine. You can do that. It's your business. It's up to you, right? But do you want to help your audience and make lots of sales, or do you want to have a hobby? Like, what are you after here, right? So once we know what they want, then we go ahead and put that together.
And on that survey form, I'm curious if we'd go a little bit deeper as to, exactly what you're asking. So like if someone has an audience, they can send out a Jot form or a Survey Monkey or whatever it is. But what are the specific questions that you're asking to be able to get all this gold, from the audience to put into the marketing and the messaging? And obviously,
good question. Let me pull up. I don't know. You might want to cut this bit out, but I'll pull up our actual membership area and I'll go in and I'll find some of the questions that we have in our templates.
Cool.
Yeah, so a part of it is asking is a bit broader. Is asking about the problems. Okay, so here are some example questions we're asking people. What's your biggest? This was a timber frame client, so they were teaching people how to make stuff out of timber. What's your biggest frustration with getting a timber frame and timber frame plans? What could we do to help you? Why are you interested in getting a timber frame plan? What's your top reason for being interested in timber frame plans? How would you rate your timber frame knowledge or experience? What was your top reason? And then that's for non-customers. And then for customers, we have a different survey. What was your top reason for being interested in timber frame plans? How did our plans or products help you with your timber framing and building projects? How could we make timber frame plans better? Is there a specific timber framing plan, project method, information, or tool that feels confusing or difficult? What are some timber framing construction projects you've got under your belt?
So it's really kind of just getting like words out of their mouth, exactly what they want, exactly what their problems are, kind of in, asking almost similar questions in different ways.
Yeah, absolutely. We're really trying to get that. We want to understand their wording. We create something called a customer language document. And that is exact phrases that are commonly used by that audience for describing their problem or the way that they think about this thing or what they're looking for, so that we can make sure we're using the exact words that they would be using. And then the second part, obviously, is to answer those questions. If you can see this is their biggest pain point, this is their frustration, this is the thing that's annoying them, then you can see what to make a course about. We sometimes ask specifically, is there anything you'd like us to make a course about? But a lot of times we're digging into like the pain points and the frustrations and the desires they have and going, we see that this is an area that they're interested in. Let's make a course about that. And then we can tap into that issue that they've got.
Yeah, love it. And in terms of actually, creating these new online courses, I guess what kind of tools or software stack, I'm sure it depends niche to niche, but how do you find that the way to get these courses live as quickly as possible was still, the highest quality?
Yeah, so there's a couple of parts to it, right? So actually making the course, we don't do that. We don't actually make any of the courses. We're just working on the funnel. So we've got a partner who is a instructional designer, and she will work with the course creator on how do you actually structure the course to make sure it achieves all of the learning outcomes that the customers have got. What resources do you need to have? What structure do you need to have to the course? What's in? What's crucially what's out? So you don't make the course too long and make it harder for people to complete the whole thing. So she'll work with them on that. Then the instructor will actually record the course themselves and create all the resources. And then whatever system they're already using, we'll just stick with that. We never, almost never, will change software. So whether it's Kajabi or Teachable or Thinkific, they're all fine. They've all got problems and they're all really quite good. They've all got slight bugs and issues and what have you. Like Teachable sucks for doing order bumps and upsells. Kajabi's email marketing system's a bit rubbish. Whatever. But it's fine for hosting the course. They're all fine. And any time that we spend changing that software is time we're not spending working on what really matters, which is making better funnels, better courses, doing the email marketing, building the email list.
Yeah, totally. Now, let's dive in again to the actual email sequence. So let's assume someone has built, like a second product or a third product. What do these email sequences look like, I guess, from, day one to kind of, like close cart or kind of final day? How do you structure the messaging and the email flow and sequence? And then even if you could kind of like high level what that structure looks like, and then, maybe going into what the actual kind of copy on the email looks like. I know there's a lot there, but yeah, kind of take whatever you want.
Yeah, no problem at all.
Yeah.
So we've got a whole structure for the whole thing. So it's 11 emails over 2 weeks. And the first week, there's 3 emails, pain, agitation, solution. I'll give you like the names of the frameworks and then I can dig into like what they each mean.
Please.
Pain, agitation, solution. And then you move into the second week and you've got the actual promotion starts. So now the first week is just warm up. The second week is when the discount is given and you're actually starting to promote the course. And the emails are gain, logic, fear, frequently asked questions, future casting, going, gone. So I'll dig into what each of those ones mean. So the pain, agitation, solution is about, the first email is about the pain and the agitation. So it's talking to somebody about, I understand the problem that you've got. I explain the problem back to you and I show, the idea is you're supposed to understand the problem better than the person does themselves. And then that gives them confidence that you really get it. And therefore you're actually going to be able to solve their problem. And you agitate it a little bit by talking about, this is probably how it's affecting your life. And this is some of the ways you might have noticed it's affecting your life. This is some of the ways it might be affecting you that you're not even noticing at the moment. And then the next 2 emails are both solution emails. So you're giving a useful tip, some resource, something helpful that they can consume, they can go through very quickly. So let's say you're teaching English grammar. Well, then the 2 solution emails might be just a useful tip about whatever that grammar point is that they're struggling with. Maybe it's somebody who struggles with the indefinite article, a or the, when to use each one. Some countries don't really have those, so they really struggle with how to actually use that. So you give some tips and some examples of when you'd use each one. So that's the warm-up sequence. Then you move into the gain, logic, fear. So the gain one is just a launch email. It's just saying this course is now available at a discount, let's say 30% off. This is what the course is about. This is the problem it helps you with. We talked about this in our emails last week, about this area. Here's some benefits of the course. Here's why to get it. It's not terribly long. It's maybe like 100, 200 words, something like that. The logic email is all the logical reasons why somebody should solve this problem and get your course. So it could be studies, statistics, all of the data around this, and you're spelling that out for somebody. Then the fear email is about what is it that these people, is more the emotional one, right? So some people are more logical, some people are more emotional. So this one is about what's all the stuff that they might be nervous or unsure or what have you about, and therefore we need to address all of their fears and show this course is going to help you to deal with all of that. Somebody might think, I'm nervous that I won't be able to do this, or I'm nervous that I'm not going to be good enough at it, or it's going to be too difficult for me, or no, this problem just can't be solved. Maybe it's about weight loss and they've got a lot of shame that they haven't managed it before. And now you're going to show them, it's okay. This is going to be possible. I've helped lots of people like you. This is going to be all right. Let me explain to you why. And you write each of these as if it's an individual email to an individual person, because each person receiving it is an individual person, right? So you can't write these to a large audience because a large audience isn't reading it. Lots of individual people are. So you just write this as if you're trying to help one person who's suffering with those fears. So then we move into the frequently asked questions. This is very straightforward. You want to know what's all the questions that anybody ever asks about the course, about the topic, whatever, right? And you know what those are, and don't try and avoid them and think, oh, maybe this is an uncomfortable thing to mention. Just bring them all up. People are thinking these things. They've got these questions, so answer all of these. Nobody is going to read this whole email. This email is long. This is like 2,000 words, 3,000 words. But people will go and search for the question that they're interested in, and they find that answer. So we're just trying to answer every single question that somebody might have, because all of these individual people are reading this, but we don't know which question each individual person has got. So we've got to answer all of them in one email. So then the future casting email. This one is genius. We used to have a big spike when we would launch the course, the promotion, and a big spike at the end when the discount was ending. And we never had a spike in the middle. And then we brought this one in. We learned this from a copywriter who was doing some training for Deadline Funnel. And the idea of this is people are nervous that they won't manage to take enough action, and therefore they won't actually get the result. So what we want to spell out for people here is, what if you did the absolute minimum? And what is the minimum for your course? I don't know, right? But you say, what if you only went through the first module? Or what if you only did a little bit from each of these? Or whatever it is, like 15 minutes a day, I don't know. You have to figure out for you what that minimum is. Here's how your life, if you just did that, you just took the course and did the minimum, here's how your life would be different in a day, a week, a month, 3 months, 6 months, and really spell out what their life would actually look like and how that would be different and better. So that's the future casting email. That makes a massive difference. It's a fantastic email. So then we're into the going, gone. Now, in course sales, you tend to get a bunch of the sales right at the end because people procrastinate and they put things off. And so by having a discount that is going to go away, you're creating urgency and getting people to take action. But we don't want people to buy the course if they're not actually going to go through it. We want people who are actually want to solve the problem. We're not trying to just create FOMO and scare people, but we are rewarding people for taking action. So these emails, the going, gone, it's about not just telling people the discount's going to finish, but trying to really understand what is it that's stopping people from taking action. What are they scared of? Are they procrastinators by default? Do you tend to have a lot of procrastinators in your audience? In which case, let's address that. Why are they procrastinating? Why are they procrastinating about solving this particular problem? Is there an emotional need that actually having the problem means they don't have to worry about? Is there what's going on really at a deep emotional level for them? And if you really know your audience through the survey or through the individual work you've done with them or what have you, then you should be able to figure that one out. And then you address that. So you might address that procrastination fear as one of those emails. But maybe people have got other fears. Maybe they're like, what, has anybody else ever done this? Has anybody else ever succeeded with this? Maybe it's not going to work, in which case you might use case studies and testimonials as another one of those emails in order to address that fear, in order to get them to think, oh yeah, I can take action, I can do this. But throughout these, you are reminding people this is 48 hours till the discount ends, 24 hours till it ends, 3 hours till it ends. So that is a part of it, that kind of urgency as well.
Yeah.
And that's the whole email sequence. It's very thorough. We've tested this so much, like, oh my God, to find this perfect kind of email sequence. And the details for each client and each course will vary, but that's the overall structure.
Love it. And shifting away from the email side, I guess, I know at the agency you only work with people with kind of your big YouTube channels and existing courses. Could you give anybody advice who maybe doesn't have an audience yet on how to grow an audience? Or would you say kind of...
I don't know. I mean, I could, but I don't know if my opinion's worth all that much. I'm working on kind of building up our YouTube channel at the moment, and I'm very much an amateur at that, right? So we work with people who are amazing at it and who've really mastered the art of it, but it's not something that I'm a particular expert at. Yeah.
And one thing, we kind of spoke about it previously, but I want to dive a little bit deeper, is like the kind of pricing differences. I don't want to go too in the weeds, but obviously, on some end, like you said, you have kind of big high ticket coaching, one-on-one done with you offers, and then there's free products or kind of low ticket memberships or $17 things. So how do you think about different price points with different niches and kind of creating, like a value stack to be able to kind of do all these email campaigns for?
Yeah. So the way that we look at it is these email promotions are particularly good for selling the low ticket stuff to on high volume.
Mm-hmm.
And so that tends to be, if you're in the hobby space, let's say you're teaching guitar or fitness or spirituality or dog training, something like that, right? That's B2C. Then we're looking at prices normally around, the ideal price is somewhere around 149 to 199. So we'll sell stuff that's between 99 and $300, something like that.
Cool.
And that you can sell just through email promotions to that kind of audience and get a good conversion rate with those kind of price points. So you might have a bunch of smaller things that you bundle together, and occasionally there's a $300 price point, or you might be selling, if you're selling something under $100, you're really kind of missing out on a lot of the value that you can get, because the conversion rate doesn't go up by enough just to make up for the lower price. If you're selling something that's in the finance space, let's say you're selling a course about, I don't know, crypto investing or something like that, which I know nothing about. But if you're selling something in the finance space, or how to be a day trader, or how to how to kind of make money, how to invest, then you typically can be going up to $1,000 while still doing this through email promotions, possibly up to about $1,500. If you're selling something in the B2B space, so that could be like how to run your architecture practice, or how to run Google shopping ads, or anything that's teaching someone who's already making money, then you typically can get away with kind of between the $1,000 and $2,000 price point through selling stuff this way. A lot of times people are selling stuff that's cheaper, but that's the kind of the highest that you can go with it. Now, on top of that, you can have the high ticket stuff. What we focus on is selling the high ticket stuff. Let's say a group coaching program, selling that to people who've already bought something. So somebody buys the cheaper course from you, they take the course, they love the course, they think it's great. Well, now you might want to also get the group coaching program. Now, the reason that we do that, you can go straight to selling group coaching programs. You can go straight to selling one-to-one offers. But in order to do that, you need to have a sales team. You need to have somebody doing the sales. And the founder that we're talking to doesn't want to do sales. They're doing great. They're making plenty of money. They don't want to do that. That's no fun, right?
Yeah, with no shows and
Yeah. So it's a pain in the butt. So they don't want to do that. They could hire and train a sales team, but they have no experience in doing that. And that's also a very difficult thing to do. But if you've got people who've bought from you before, to upsell them to buying something more expensive, that's possible when they already have all of that trust in you. You just message all the people who previously bought and say, we've now got this higher priced offer. Would you be interested in this? And maybe you have a sales page for it, or maybe you have a back and forth by email or by WhatsApp or what have you. That you can convert to those higher ticket offers. And there we're talking about something that's, let's say it's in that kind of in the language learning space, or I'm trying to think of an example. So that renovations company that I mentioned before, they've got the cheaper stuff at the front end, and then they've got like a group coaching program that's thousands of dollars. Or we had somebody who was selling training about social media, and they had the front end offer was like $47. We sold it through a tripwire funnel. And then behind that, they had a higher priced offer for like a couple of $1,000 doing group coaching for people. So that's the kind of thing that you can do with that higher ticket offer. I generally say to people, don't start with that, because there's so much, right? All the stuff that I've just detailed here, all of it takes a lot of time to set up. All of it takes a lot of time to do. If someone's already got a big audience, then they start by making sure you've got enough courses, run these email promotions every month, build that tripwire funnel. Once that's all working, maybe you then scale your audience with ads. Once that's working, now you might add in the high ticket offer. So there's this is over the course of more than a year doing all of this stuff. And that's with us doing a lot of it for them. So it's a large piece of work, what I've just kind of described there.
Yeah. And you mentioned there about growing your audience with paid ads. Is that something you guys do?
So we have partners who run ads, and what we do is we build the front end funnel. So that tripwire funnel that I mentioned before, that can make a decent amount of money. So let's say we've got a client who's got 1 million YouTube subscribers. Maybe we managed to make that tripwire funnel convert really well. They're going to get $20,000 or $30,000 a month from that. That's great, but compared to the $200,000 a month we're making with the email promotions, it's relatively small. But the reason it's worth putting a lot of effort into is if you optimize it and optimize it and optimize it till it converts really, really well, you can now test running ads into the lead magnets. And so you're sending ads to the landing page for the lead magnet. People sign up to the email list. Some of them buy. That makes you, let's say, 70% of your money back on the ads. Well, then when you run an email promotion the next month, you make the rest of your money back. So now after 4 weeks, 6 weeks, something like that, you've made all of the money back, and everything after that is profit because some of those people are going to buy a bunch more stuff. So now you can afford to start scaling up those ads over time. But in order to do that, you have to have a really well converting front end funnel. You can't run ads to a bad funnel. You just the numbers of it just don't really add up. So you have to have that funnel convert really well. So therefore, we start doing that with the organic traffic who's coming in through those lead magnets, build up that tripwire funnel, optimize it, and then we can see if ads will work. And even then, sometimes the ads don't convert well enough and we can't do it. But it's like you have to have the funnel to have a chance of the ads working.
Totally. And on that point as well, when you said funnel, right? So when you're doing the email sequence and we're driving people to a sales page for the product, do you guys have any, I'm sure you've tested a shit ton and you're still testing, but in terms of like a structure or a flow or an approach to actually sales pages in terms of, length, copy, big idea, all that kind of stuff, I guess, what are you guys doing right now? What do you see working?
Yeah, so there's 15 crucial elements to a high-performing sales page, and most people are missing a bunch of them. So we start out with a call out to the audience. So we address the target audience. It might say something like, attention, busy mums, or whatever it is at the beginning. And that lets the audience member know that they're in the right place. So if someone's thinking, is this definitely for me? It's like, oh yes, this is definitely for me. Then we want a compelling headline, which is going to really get their attention. It probably talks about a benefit that they'll get from the course, but it's something that gets their attention. That's the crucial part with it. Then we have the subheadline, and the subheadline is going to back up that big promise from the headline. So you're talking about the big idea. The headline has got to get across, like, what is that big idea? What is it that people are going to get out of this? Then we want to identify the problem. So we're talking to people about, like, this is the problem that you're currently facing. I mentioned this before from that email sequence, but we're doing that again here in the sales page. People have to know that we understand their problem. Otherwise, why would they believe that our solution is going to address their problem? If we don't understand what problem they've currently got, how can we claim that we're going to make their life better? Because we have to show we understand what is it they're trying to solve. So we want to talk about that pain. We want to talk about how that's going to be affecting their life, and then say, we've got the solution for you, and say that nice and confidently. Then we provide the solution. So we reveal the solution to them. What's the product? How does it work? What's the benefits to it? What's the features? Like, explain all of the details of that. Make sure when you're doing the benefits, you really get down to the benefits level. We want to talk about the pain and the cost of the development of building this out in the first place. That's not an essential one, but it adds to that kind of overall structure there. Talk about the ease of use, show speed to results, future casting, talk about how their life is going to be better after they've got this in place. We want to talk about our credentials. So the credibility of the instructor, show that they know what they're talking about. Get more into the benefits. We want to have social proof. Talk about the offer, like exactly what's the price, what are they going to get, what bonuses are going to be included into it. And then we want to have the urgency, so some kind of a countdown timer on the page, a guarantee, and then have like a reminder at the end of what is it that they were just told about. What is it that they're going to get? Because nobody's going to, by the way, people think nobody reads long form sales pages. Yeah, very few people read the whole thing, but we're writing to lots and lots of people here, and they each have a particular bit they're interested in. Some people are interested in the testimonials. Some people are interested more in the features of it and the real details of it. Some people want to know that we really understand their problem at the moment. Other people want to know, but what guarantee have you got? Like, so we have to have all of those bits so that everyone can read through and find the bit that they're particularly interested in.
Yeah, wow. That was incredible. Thanks for
no worries.
sharing all that. Well, we got to move towards kind of a wrapping up, but I'm curious, in terms of people out there who have an existing course and they do have an audience, are there any final words of advice or wisdom you can part down to them on trying to get more course scales and scale it up?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is to run these email promotions regularly. So if you've got 3 products, you should be running an email promotion every month and cycle through every 3 months with it. If you don't have 3 products, figure out what could you do to have a few products, or run the promotions of that one that you have got every 3 months. Now, there's a reason why people generally don't do this. Am I allowed to swear on this? So most people are nervous about sending out lots of email promotions because they're like, oh, my email subscribers will get annoyed with me. They will unsubscribe and they won't want to hear from me anymore. And therefore, I'm going to upset my audience and I'm going to feel salesy and spammy. And I'm going to have a smaller email list because everybody's gone. And if I was sending out the kinds of emails that most people are sending out when they do a promotion, then I would expect that to happen.
Yeah.
I would feel bad about that. The problem is most people are sending shit emails. Don't send shit emails. If you send shit emails, then everyone's going to be like, oh, these are really annoying, I'm going to unsubscribe. All this email is saying is buy my product, buy my product, buy my product. There's a discount for a week, there's a discount for 5 days, discount for 3 days. It's like, that's annoying as hell. Send really good emails that are valuable and people like receiving and are really helpful that also sell your product. If you do that, you feel good about it. Your audience will actually message you and say, I love these emails you're sending. These are so helpful. We get this constantly. And then you'll also make more sales.
Love it. Don't send shit emails.
Don't send shit emails. Get good at it.
Yeah, totally. And well, that's a good point. If people do want to get good at it, what do you kind of recommend? Any books, trainings, courses, strategies for people to...
Yeah, so I've got a podcast called The Art of Selling Online Courses. And every week I interview either a course creator who's doing a really good job with this about what they're doing, or someone from my team. So my head copywriter or my head of funnel strategy about exactly how to implement any of these tactics. So we've got ones where we're covering the sales page. We've got an hour's podcast episode about the sales page and exactly how to implement that. We've got numerous episodes about those email marketing sequences. Monica Badu, if you search for her within the cast, you're going to find all the ones with her about the email marketing or the sales pages. Josip is covering all the stuff about the funnel strategy and pricing. Cool. And so we've got all of that stuff covered totally for free. If you're a bigger course creator and you've got that many views a month on YouTube and you want help with it, you want someone to do it for you, then, come have a chat with us and see if we'll have a chat and see if you're qualified to work with us. That's datadrivenmarketing.co. But all the free stuff,
love it.
The Art of Selling Online Courses.
Cool. All right. Well, we will leave a link to that podcast below. We'll also leave a link to Data Driven Marketing below. Wherever you're watching or listening to this, reach out to John, listen to his podcast. If you know how to get fit, implement his free shit so you can afford his his actual stuff and kind of get into it. But John, man, I really appreciate you coming on, man. There's so much gold here, so much like wisdom I need to unpack. So I really appreciate your time. Thanks for dropping some bombs and thanks for coming on, man.
You're very welcome. Thanks so much for having me on, man.